When I took over as colonel 2.5 years ago, I made impaired driving and the rest of those drivers our #1 priority. I've seen the tragedy firsthand on the highways and what they can cause. And I just want to say thank you to MADD and the legislators here today for giving us this tool to prevent tragedies all across the state. So many times, a tragedy is caused by a second offender of impaired driving. With this new ignition lock device law, this gives us a chance to prevent that tragedy from ever happening. I'll be very involved with the administration of this law and this bill because if you don't know, the Tennessee Highway Patrol administers the ignition interlock program, so it will be my people doing the administrative work on this bill and actually working with the companies and making sure the right people have this device in their car. So we're very thrilled. It gives us another tool in our toolbox to prevent tragedy and to get impaired drivers off the road. We've made great strides in the last 2 years. We've increased our DUI arrest over 80% in the THP over the last 2 years. And we're committed to drunk driving enforcement, and we always will be as long as I'm here. Thank you.
On behalf of MADD Tennessee, I'd like to say thank you to all of our law enforcement agencies across the state. You are truly community heroes. And I would like to say thank you to all the members of the legislature this year and Governor Haslam for signing this incredibly important piece of legislation. This is a big deal for everyone in this state. It is just too bad a lot of people haven't realized it yet. And it's my pleasure at this time to welcome MADD's National President, Jan Withers, back to Tennessee to celebrate the signing of this bill.
In 2006, MADD designed a roadmap to eliminate drunk driving, and today we are one state closer. Tennessee joined 17 other states with all ignition interlock legislation for all offenders at a BAC of a .08, the legal limit. This legislation in every state, along with high visibility law enforcement and future technology to make it impossible for drunk drivers to operate a vehicle, are the key components of MADD's work throughout the nation. Thanks to the work here in Tennessee, fewer families will have to find out that someone they love has died in a drunk driving crash, that the life of that special person was cut short because someone made the wrong choice to drink and drive. I know the pain of that loss. I live with it every single day. I always thought it would happen to someone else, but on April 16, 1992, I became someone else. It was on that day that my precious daughter, Alyssa, who was just 15 years old, was killed by a drunk driver. As the vehicle crashed, the right side of the car was ripped away, hurling her out through a forest of trees. The first gentleman that came upon the scene heard her friends calling for her, so he found her and sat with her until the paramedics arrived. He told me she was alert and trying to talk, but she couldn't talk. To this day, I am deeply grateful to that very kind individual. Until he arrived, she lay there, deep in the dark forest, alone. She was medevac to shock trauma, where we were able to be by her side when she died. You know, I had the opportunity to say goodbye, but I couldn't say goodbye. Instead, I leaned down and I whispered in her ear and I said, "I love you, and I will always love you." I stand here today, 21 years later, more hopeful than ever that we are making progress. This legislation that was just signed into law is a key part of that solution. I stand here today knowing that so many families in Tennessee will be saved from ever becoming that someone else. Anyone who violates the public trust and drives drunk after 30 years of prevention and education in our country has earned the right for an alcohol ignition interlock device to be installed on their vehicle. It is for this reason that MADD has made the passage of ignition interlock laws for all offenders at a BAC of a .08 in all 50 states our #1 legislative priority. We have successfully lobbied for similar laws in 17 states, and Tennessee is the 18th state to pass such a law. I want to thank everyone who supported this legislation and has helped us get one step closer to meeting our goal. And now, it is with great pleasure that I introduce you to a new friend and resident of the state, but someone who has already invested in keeping its citizens safer, Tennessee Titans tight end Delanie Walker.
Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers last year, but it ended up being the worst day of my life. My auntie and my uncle, Brian and Alex Young, were parked on the side of the road as they were driving back home to their hotel. A drunk driver rear-ended them, and both cars set on fire. My auntie and uncle were killed instantly while the car was still on fire and burned for 2 hours. And the drunk driver escaped with minor injuries. And, you know, it's hard to even come up here and talk about it because it just happened recently. And for me to be a part of MADD and for them to support me and let me be the face and the name for the athletes around America, I'm happy about that. And I would like to thank the representatives for passing this bill in Tennessee, because this is my new home. It's a new chapter of my life where I'm going to begin. And to see something like this is beautiful. Within the NFL, we need to look at ourselves. We are role models. We had a couple of incidents, but as a group, we're trying to work with that, and MADD has also got a hand in that and helping us. So once again, I'd just like to thank all of you guys for giving me this opportunity to come up here and speak and passing this bill. Thank you.